This episode of Titan Talk is brought to you by Tweaked Audio. Do you know, podcast fan? Tweaked Audio headphones make the perfect holiday gift. You can get awesome headphones by going to tweakedaudio.com. Please use the coupon code Southgate to get 30% off, free shipping, and a lifetime warranty. You can also get there by going through the link on our website, southgatemediagroup.com. Tell them Charles and Jesse sent you, and go Titans.
Titans, go!
Titans fans, welcome back to Titan Talk, the Titans podcast. I'm Charles Skaggs, ready to talk some Titans with my fellow Titan talker, everybody's favorite Titan talker, Jesse Jackson.
Hey Charles, I am so looking forward to talk Donna Troy. There was a lot of anticipation, a lot of Titan talkers, new and old, current and former, had a lot of expectation for this one. And spoilers, I don't think many people are going to be disappointed.
No, they're not, and including my wife, which we'll talk about here in a minute. Welcome to episode 15, everyone, of Titan Talk. And yeah, we're going to talk about Donna Troy. Not just Donna Troy the character, but, quote, Donna Troy, unquote, the episode title, because apparently that's the best title they could come up with. For episode 8 of Titan Season 1 that came out just a couple days ago on November 30th, 2018. So yeah, we're already in December, guys. This year's ending fast, and the season's ending fast. This episode was written once again by Richard Hatem, or Richard Hatem. I'm thinking Richard Hatem because it sounds better. He previously wrote the episodes Origins and Jason Todd, which were obviously very character-driven. And also a co-writer on this was Marisha Mukherjee, who also co-wrote the episode Origins with Richard Hatem. And this episode was directed by David Frazee. So obviously this episode is a very character-driven episode and emphasis highly on the Dick and Donna relationship as we're introduced to Conor Leslie as Donna Troy. And I can't wait to talk about this with you, Jesse. So what are your thoughts, generally?
I just loved it. I loved everything about it. I don't know yet what categories, so I'm not going to get too specific about a lot of my thoughts, but
we'll give you a little heads up on the category. So first, I want to talk about obviously Dick and Donna because this is the main focus of the story. Second, I want to talk about Rachel and Angela as we get a little bit more background on those two characters and their history. And third, I want to talk about Corey.
Okay. Because
we get some interesting possible revelations about her in this episode as well. And I thought that would be a good breakdown of the episode. So hopefully you approve.
I do. I just loved everything about this episode. It was everything I wanted in a Titan series. And it's just, as we get into more details, I'll give you more details, but just quick thoughts. I just loved it. How about you?
Yeah, I thought this was a great episode. It wasn't everything that I wanted because we haven't really hit the major threat level yet.
Mm-hmm.
So, but this was a great character story, and as a result, I gave it a very high grade. But I just thought it was a great piece. Still more setup for Titans as we kind of we keep building. They're adding characters, which is great, but we haven't really faced the major threat yet, and we probably won't until the season 1 finale. And as a result, it's maybe not be as exciting to some viewers, but for me, obviously, a huge Donna Troy fan, and this was great. I just really liked it.
So I believe that they are right or wrong. The people behind the show have determined this is a subscription service.
Yes.
The series is not the only thing going for it. It's all the comics you get and all the other...
The movies and TV and the merchandise and all that, yeah.
And so what I think they are truly playing a slow game. That this first season is just, think of it as a long novel. And this is the first third of the novel. And so I think once I accepted that, I was okay with this. Because this is, and you could certainly make the argument they're taking too long to get the whole team together.
Right.
But I've decided that this was one of the complaints a couple of people had about American Gods, that they were taking this road trip take too long. Right. But I'm just like, I'm enjoying the road trip.
You're enjoying the ride. Yeah.
I am enjoying the ride, and I'm okay we're not getting to where we need to go so far because the scenery and the conversation in the car is so well that I'm okay with it.
Okay.
To stretch the analogy probably a little too far. But I get what you're saying. I do.
Yes. Yeah. Now, I get you have a great point as far as, that this is, you're okay with the setup, that this is, it's a slow build, but it's you're enjoying what we're getting as far as things are building up.
Right.
And with the fact that we know that there is going to already be a season 2, which I'm guessing was deliberate. They probably figured, well, we need at least to get 2 seasons to get this show and our network off the ground.
Yeah.
So they probably decided, okay, we're going to go ahead and give this 2-season commitment, and we're going to plan for it. So as a result, maybe the writers thought, well, hey, we've got time because we have 2 seasons. We can kind of structure how we're introducing characters and situations and planning for a 2-season length at least as a result. Yeah, so they don't have to have the big payoff in this first season.
And are you – I believe no one is shocked that I am optimistic about what I'm seeing and enjoying the journey because, I am Mr. Sunshine.
Yes, you are. And Donna Troy definitely brings the little ray of sunshine into this series, a much-needed ray of sunshine. And I'm really glad to see that she's sticking around, at least for another episode.
Yeah.
Presumably more, because we know that the character was described as recurring for season 1, and that with the possibility that she could become a regular character in season 2. So presumably that would kind of hint that she might be officially joining the Titans.
Yeah, and I wonder if the plan of her, because she is such a strong character, and I don't know how much the actress how much still on the Man in the High Castle she has going with this, So I don't know. We'll see.
Well, since you brought that up, let's go ahead and dive into our guest cast for the week.
Please.
And obviously we're going to talk about first Conor Leslie, who plays Donna Troy in this episode and does a pretty amazing job, I might add.
Oh, just amazing.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that more in detail here in a minute. She's obviously known for playing the character Trudy Walker in The Man in the High Castle, which is the Amazon Prime adaptation of the novel that I got through The Man in the High Castle season 1, but I kind of lost interest because it was just slow burning so much. So have you stuck with the series?
No, I did not even get through season 1. And
so I got farther than you did. That's interesting.
Yeah, I tried to read the novel it was based on.
Yeah.
And did not enjoy the novel.
It's more of a short story, or novella, but yeah.
Yeah. Hey, it all looks the same on a Kindle, and
right.
And the premise sounds really interesting, and I keep thinking I want to go back and try the series again. Now that there's multiple episodes, you could just binge. So I do not know what kind of person, I don't know what the character she plays. I haven't seen her. I just know, and God, this sounds so horrible.
Right.
She looks like Donna Troy.
Yes.
I mean, Perez could have drawn this actress. Yes.
Yeah, I think so. And, because as far as the Philip K. Dick novel, I'm a huge fan of the movie Blade Runner, which was based on Philip K. Dick's novella, Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep?
Right.
And I thought that was good. It was okay. But Philip K. Dick isn't exactly everybody's taste. So I kind of get why that maybe you didn't get into that novel. But Conor Leslie does great here. She's also, you might know her from The Blacklist, where she played a character named Gwen Hollander on a couple of episodes of that show. And she was known for playing the character Tasha on the series Greys, which I gather you're familiar with.
Yes.
So you may have seen her there, and I think she does a great job here. We get the return of Rachel Nichols as Arella, not yet, at least not revealed as Arella, but here she's just called Angela. And we get the return of Tomaso Sanelli as Young Dick Grayson, who we see once again. You get the introduction of a young actress named Andi Hubick as young Donna Troy, who I thought did a pretty good job in the flashback scene. And maybe we'll see more of the young Dick and Donna as the series progresses. That would be kind of cool.
So right now, my note was, I talked about last time, we wanted the adventures of young Dick Grayson.
Mm-hmm.
I'm now saying we don't have to have a whole series.
Yeah.
But we need a made-for-TV movie, which, an old phrase, what they used to call those. But they need to do a movie with Tomaso and Andi playing Young Robin and Wonder Girl in some kind of. I mean, they were amazing together. Considering how little,
I would be okay with a Teen Titans spinoff series, with that actually features the younger Robin, Wonder Girl, and maybe hey, Kid Flash or Speedy or Aqualad.
Yeah,
but
I mean, in case though, yes, I would love that. But even if they said, we don't have the time or experience, it's just a movie.
Yeah.
For the amount of screen time those two people had, the amount of chemistry had.
Yeah.
And what I love is, and maybe I'm against what other fandom does, this is truly a brother and sister relationship. Yep. I mean, and I love that because so often every relationship has to be romantic or there has to be sexual tension. And in this truly is, two people that adore each other, that treat each other as peers. I just that alone scene set it up. So you can tell I'm a giddy fanboy. I want this movie so bad.
I think so. You seem very excited. You won't even let me get through the cast list before we get to talk about Dick and Donna. So,
yes.
And then lastly, so I'm trying to hurry this up so we can get right into Dick and Donna discussion. Last actor I want to mention, Davian Walsh Howling, who played the shady kind of black market animal pelt dealer, Graham Norris, in this episode. You may have seen him on the Fox TV series Terra Nova. He played a character named Carter on that series. So if he looks a little familiar, maybe that's why. All right. Without any further ado, let's get into our main topics because Jesse's chomping at the bit to talk about Dick and Donna. So first topic, and you could probably guess the theme for this week, maybe. First topic, Back in Black. And that's a reference to Donna Troy, who looks pretty nice in her black sweater, possibly hinting at her black Donna Troy costume that maybe she'll sport later on. I don't know if we're going to get to see Conor Leslie as Wonder Girl, but maybe we'll see her as the more current version of just Donna Troy, and maybe being a little more adult in this series. So, Jesse, Donna Troy and Dick Grayson. Obviously, you've got some thoughts, so let's hear it.
No, now I'm gonna go. It was okay. No,
not that I built it up so much.
Yeah. No, it was amazing to see them together, and the easy friendship they had. And in a lot of ways, you are an example of that. Charles and I see each other in person maybe every 10 years.
Right.
But when we do, and this was before we talked on a regular basis on Skype, when we met for dinner, when one or the other of us was traveling, it was like we had just seen each other last week.
Right.
You know, we just immediately...
You pick right up where you left off. And...
Yes.
Yes.
And so they showed that very much with Dick and Donna. She's older, smarter, and prettier.
Right.
To take one of the,
quotes.
Yes.
Yeah.
But, and I love that she said that twice. She's really good for him. She makes fun of him, his inability to do small talk.
Right.
I've never thought about that as a trait of Dick Grayson. I would have always thought he would have been comfortable at any situation because he is Dick Grayson. But I think this is a nice little twist on his how amazing put together he is in the field and as a leader and when he's wearing the Robin costume, but to throw him in a purely social setting where he hasn't got a purpose, it's just relaxing, he's a little uncomfortable. And one of the quotes again, and I'm stealing all the quotes, but it's perfect, when he says, "Wonder what the penguin is doing right now."
Right.
What is he doing?
And this is probably a change from the comics because Dick Grayson generally is better at social situations in the comics.
Right.
If anything else, because it shows the contrast between him and Bruce Wayne. Because Bruce has to put on this facade.
Yes.
Of this like kind of brainless playboy.
Mm-hmm.
And just to kind of throw everybody off the fact that he's Batman. But Dick is, he's a showman. He was in the circus. And so naturally I would think he would have a more outgoing personality as a result. He's not an introvert. So it does seem a little weird to kind of see him in this role, but it's great because of this tremendously outstanding brother and sister relationship that Dick and Donna have in this series. Just based on this one episode. They have history, and Donna feels comfortable, like, picking on Dick Grayson. Dick feels the same way, just, taking little, playful jabs at Donna, like during that whole scene where she's pretending to be unconscious.
Yeah.
And they pick on each other like brothers and sisters do. And so as a result, they have this terrific chemistry between, at least I thought so, between Conor Leslie and Brenton Thwaites that if anything, that Donna seems to be the character that opens up Dick Grayson so that he can relax. Dick seems comfortable around Donna. He's not so serious. He's cracking jokes and with her, and he feels more comfortable than he does the others at the moment.
Yeah, I totally agree, Charles. And I get the feel to kind of just to try to earn a Titan No prize.
Yes.
Because, and for those of you who do not remember.
No, you're mixing up your comic book companies.
Yes, I am.
Yes, you are.
But I guess or win the Baldy Award.
Yes.
But part of the fun is trying to explain something that could be a little uncharacteristic, but using it in the world. So I'm using that. I'm going to say Dick Grayson is comfortable when he's on stage,
right.
when he is performing, when he is good in a situation, and he is playing a character of a detective. And so when she says you're not interrogating anyone, you're not looking at things, you are just relaxing, he's off stage. He's not a character. So therefore, what am I?
Right.
And so
and especially right now because he's kind of torn about his own identity.
Yeah.
He's just quit being Robin. He's burned his suit, and
which,
so
by
he's
the way, are expensive.
Yes, we find out. You're going to just steal all the quotes in this episode, aren't you?
Okay. I'm just saying, I thought that was a great line. Mine's
it was
back
a great
in my
line.
Closet.
Yep. But yeah, he, he's trying to figure out who he wants to be. And that's actually one of the things that with his relationship with Corey, they have this great exchange where, they kind of sort of put their relationship on like a timeout. Well, he figures out who he is and she tries to figure out who she is. And so he's going to her and he's kind of like, well, how did you figure out, and like, how did you know how to quit and set up this life? And she's kind of advising him, well, you just, it just happens. And you kind of like, you have to kind of feel your way through it and figure it out. But with her, it was easier because she talks about that with Donna, that she thought she could do more good as Donna Troy than she was doing as Wonder Girl. Now, that might change later on after certain events, maybe. But for right now, she feels like because she's this set up as this kind of investigative journalist, an investigative photojournalist, and that was great to see because we got to see Donna Troy's photography background, which is taken right from the Wolfman and Perez era, which I loved. And then we got a very quick reference to the fire where she was left as a baby, presumably that her parents were killed in this fire and rescued by Wonder Woman and presumably brought to Themyscira, Paradise Island, and where she was, trained by the Amazons and brought up to become Wonder Woman's sidekick, Wonder Girl. So we got all these great Easter eggs. Yeah. And I love that.
Our we sidekicks have to stick together.
Yes.
It was just it was just everything you wanted. And there were so many more things I wanted to know. Like, obviously, in the comics, and this was a big issue with us,
right?
Is, Wonder Girl was introduced for the Titans, and we never saw her in the Wonder Woman comic. There was this kind of, how do we explain, but we needed a female Titan.
Right.
So I like how they kind of embraced the whole Perez story and Wolfman story. It's just great. And the whole easiness of, okay, I'm running late.
Yeah.
My couch has your name on it. It always does.
Yeah, she just kind of throws his bag into the room. Is like, okay, are you coming or what?
Exactly.
I got a thing because I've got a life.
Yes, exactly.
now are you going to come join me or what?
Yeah.
And so he kind of tags along, and that was great.
Yeah. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, and, there's so much, like, these little Easter eggs in this episode, which I love. Like, we got confirmation that, hey, Wonder Woman exists in this continuity.
Yes.
And the Justice League, at least in the past, existed. We don't know if it still exists in the present day. We know Batman does.
Yeah, because they say it's a
and
Justice
presumably
League
Wonder
thing.
Woman does, but we don't know if the Justice League exists.
Yeah, but you would the implication is
Yes,
because they say it's a Justice League thing.
Right. And because getting back to the fire for a minute, I have to wonder if they're kind of setting up. Well, maybe they'll adapt the Who is Donna Troy story.
Oh,
One of the classics from the Marv Wolfman, George Perez era.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that would be a great single episode where Dick tries to help Donna figure out her background. And
yes.
I think that I could easily see that maybe for season 2. And I think I'm fingers crossed that happens because that would be fantastic.
Yeah, I love seeing Donna with her camera.
Right.
Dick talking about I was there when she got her first camera.
Right.
And this was, and him this was before digital and
Yep.
all that. It was, I thought that was really nice. Her eye and him talking about how good everything looked. And by the way, whoever did the showing, the photographs did look
the actual
great.
photographs used in the episode. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought they all looked really good.
Yeah. From what little we saw, but yeah.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that we got to see Donna using some of her powers.
Yes.
So that whole scene where, like, real quick, she kind of like, well, you can come back and crash at my place if you can still keep up with me. And she kind of playfully, like, ducks into an alleyway and leaps over a truck, somersaults over a truck, and Dick stands there kind of for a second, and he looks all, like, just amazed and impressed, and then follows her. Of course he can't leap like she can.
That's what I was going to say. Did you not love the fact that he actually looked a little awkward compared to her?
Well,
like,
yeah.
Yeah, and then, of course, he quickly dismounts a good way, but I thought that was a subtle way to show the difference. He is a very gifted human, and she has some kind of
powers,
at least a touch of that. So that was very cool.
Yeah, she obviously has these very similar to Wonder Woman abilities.
Yes.
And so I'm hoping we'll get more on that as the series progresses. This just opens so much up for this series now. Just a tremendous introduction, and I love the scene at the end where Dick and Donna, after Dick has screwed up by interfering with her investigation of these, like, poachers and they go back and they have a couple of beers because Donna wants to have a talk with him, and kind of sits him down and tries to get a handle on who he is. And she kind of, like, points out the contrast because she was raised by Wonder Woman while he was raised by Batman. And
she covers that, yes.
Yeah, and I thought that was addressed just so well in this episode, and it just seemed very true to the characters, and I was very impressed.
Yeah, I agree. It was, and I love her giving him a hard time,
right?
And not in a way that sometimes a cliche on a TV show. Oh, now we're going to be mad at each other for a long time. No, she was just like, okay, let me fix this. Did you honestly think? Did you not trust me? Do you not know what I'm doing? Kind of hitting you on the side of the head, like, come on.
Yes.
And
that just shows the greatness of their relationship, because it is this brother-sister relationship.
Yes.
And even to the point where she at one point points out, like, well, hey, why don't you try to have a relationship or with someone that isn't gender driven, meaning all these physical relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And she's kind of writing him about this because, yeah, Dick Grayson's a bit of a slut, in case you haven't noticed. And yes, I'm slut shaming Dick Grayson.
Yes, indeed.
But and Donna pointed that out, and I thought that was really good, and shows the difference, why their relationship is different from, say, something that he has with Corey.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, that was great, and I love Donna's line about when she's talking to the poacher, and that she's offered the opportunity to shoot this bear, and she's like, well, no, like the only thing I'm gonna point is a camera, and I just thought that was good.
Yeah, very good.
And I was very impressed, and more importantly, you probably are wondering about this. My wife Lori was very impressed with Conor Leslie as Donna.
Good.
Which was like I talked about this a little briefly last week, that this was a kind of a big deal in our household because my wife's favorite comics character is Donna Troy, and so the pressure was on whether Titans was going to live up to that. Her first word, like, I asked her point blank after the episode. We watched it on Friday night, and I go, well, okay, so what did you think of Conor Leslie as Donna? And her comments were that she thought that Conor Leslie, she paused for a minute and she's like, well, she was promising, her words, which is, if you know my wife, that's a huge compliment, because she was ready to just go off if they had screwed this up, and ready to rant because she had already felt a little burned by how Dick Grayson was being portrayed. And the fact that she considered Conor Leslie, her performance, as promising was very surprising, pleasantly so. So peace has broken out in the Skaggs household.
Nice.
And looks good going forward for Titans. So very, very happy about that.
Nice.
So yeah. And my brother and sister-in-law, my brother-in-law John and my sister-in-law Lisa, hi guys, they know my wife Lori, so when I mentioned it to them, we were kind of texting back and forth about the episode a little bit yesterday, and just talking about how, like, Lori felt about that and how it was kind of a big deal, so that she actually approved of what she saw. So just thought it was cool. So that's good.
Absolutely.
All right. Anything else about Dick and Donna before we move on? I know we've talked a lot about them.
Yeah, it was just everything we kind of wanted, and I was very happy that the scene with Dick in the gallery was hilarious.
Right.
It just really was.
Where this one guy kind of comes along and tries to hit on him. And he's just talking about, Donna's photography nonstop.
Yeah.
And then the presumably gay gentleman, he gets called away by a female friend, and he's all whispering, going, "Thank you."
Yeah.
Like, thank you for getting me out of this.
Yeah, because he just was not very comfortable, and I love that. I love that idea. That was fun. So, yes.
All right.
What do we got next, Charles?
Next topic, I want to talk about Highway to Hell. So we have Back in Black and Highway to Hell, so you can probably guess the theme by now.
Yes.
This I want to talk about Rachel and Angela, which this title actually worked pretty well for, considering who Rachel's father is. So I want to talk about these two because we see most of them on this train to Ohio. And as it turns out, because they're going to they agree to go to this house that Rachel's mother Angela owns. And presumably it's been her family's for decades. And it's supposedly in a place called Killdeer, Ohio, which I actually looked this up because I was not familiar. Once again, not familiar with the town. This town doesn't exist
and you're from Ohio. So
yeah. Yeah, I mean, obviously they're making a considerable effort to go all around the Midwest here,
Right.
and because we keep going back and forth from Michigan to Illinois to Ohio and so on. Um, but yeah, there is no Killdeer, Ohio. It's a completely fictional thing they kind of came up with. The closest thing is there's this Killdeer kind of animal preserve, which is up toward a city called Upper Sandusky, which is in the kind of the northwest corner of the state a little bit. As you head up towards Cedar Point, if you're familiar at all with the amusement park Cedar Point, and but as far as that goes, yeah, it's just completely something they invented for the show this time. So I thought that was interesting. So they're going on this train to Ohio, and I know it kind of took a little while to get there, but they have Rachel and Angela kind of have this sit down moment, and I want to get your thoughts on this conversation that they had, and where Angela starts talking more, kind of gives Rachel more insight about her father, but still is holding some cards, and what you thought about that whole thing.
Okay. I have to go on a little bit of segue, but I'm going to bring it home.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
So
I went a long route there, so
okay,
go ahead.
So if I could have a little latitude, Your Honor.
No problem.
Thursday night, as we record this, the Cowboys played the Saints, and the whole game, Chris Jackson was just, we're gonna screw it up. We're gonna screw it up.
Your son, Chris.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah, he just was so anxious that I don't think he ever enjoyed the game till like 1 minute after the Cowboys had ended up winning.
Okay.
And then he was because he just kept waiting for either the shoe to drop.
Yes.
I feel that way about Rachel's mom. I just don't trust her.
Yeah.
Because she seems almost too good to be true. She seems kind.
Right.
She seems sweet. That actress is an actress I enjoy.
Well, she is in the comics. The question is, are we getting the version from the comics?
Yeah, and so I'm like, is she setting her up? I have this, and there's been nothing to show us that
right
on the series, but I keep worrying, is Angela gonna...
Well, she was in an asylum apparently for a good long while.
Yes.
So she could have easily been brainwashed.
Right. So that's my worry. Okay,
I hope
first
not.
off, I brought up the point, why did Dick take the van? How are they going to get to Rachel's mom's house? I mean, there's him, and then all of them. Now, I know he owns the van.
Right.
He gave up his, he
gave up his Porsche for that.
Yeah. But still, it seems like he would have been able to, okay, I'm going to rent a car.
Well, maybe he figured Corey was throwing around these $100 bills that he was going out of style with that we've talked about. So maybe she could just rent a car, but she doesn't have any. Well, she does have ID.
Yeah.
So I guess she could rent a car.
Yeah, and so I that was my first thought, and then I'm like, oh, they had to get him on a train.
Right.
It's okay. I guess that's fine. Yeah, I love.
Maybe Corey stole another car.
Well, no, they got to a train somehow. They're on a train. Bound for nowhere.
Well, what I thought was that Dick dropped them off at the train station.
Okay, that makes sense.
That's my guess, is that there was a train where he dropped them off was where the train, they were able to get on the train. Now, once they got off the train, how they got to the house, I don't know.
Yeah.
Presumably, Corey got another car somehow. No, I take that back. We do know, because remember, they stole that guy's truck.
Yes,
Guard turned into a tiger and stole that guy's truck, and they drove that. Right.
But
so that's how they got
to the train. Yes.
Yeah, but as far as getting to the train, I think Dick dropped them off at like a train station.
Must be. I really love the way that Rachel is so in love and so happy to see her mom, which scares me too because her her poor heart could be broken again.
Right.
The awkwardness and sweetness of Gar and talking to her, mom about you like my daughter.
Yeah.
And back and forth. And then
Yeah, that was at the beginning. I thought that was an interesting bit at the beginning where they have Angela is just kind of appreciating the sunrise. She's kind of looking out the window, and Rachel is trying to make her mom breakfast.
Yes.
Like she's very desperate to kind of get back to a kind of a mother-daughter relationship. She's trying really hard.
Mm-hmm.
And she's not being the sulky goth teen.
No.
She's actually trying to make this effort. And Angela asked Rachel if she could put her arm around her and to try to, have this kind of close relationship with her. And then she invites Gar to come over, which I thought was pretty funny. Yes. Because he's just like, well, I don't need, like, she asked him if he needs a hug, and he's like, no, I'm good. And then he kind of like sides over to them and tries to kind of snuggle up to them, but then he's just like, I'm going to stand.
Yeah. Now, what's a little confused is Angela Roth is played by Rachel Nichols.
Yes.
And her daughter is Rachel, so
yeah, it is a little confusing. Yeah. The actress is named Rachel, but she refers to her daughter as Rachel, so that has to be weird for her too.
Mm-hmm. I kind of love that. I also, what is not to love Gar and Rachel being creeped out by Corey and Dick sleeping together.
Yes, that was
like Gar, like, huh? And
like you knew. Well, he's surprised that Gar's surprised that
like, hello.
Rachel. Yeah, please, come on.
Yeah, and so
like changeling, please. No,
Tegan is just wonderful in this role.
Yeah,
I mean, I think there's great casting all the way around.
Right.
But if I had a season 1 MVP, I think it would be Tegan Croft.
Yeah.
I think she has just brought it.
So much of the storyline centers around her, so she had to be good in the role.
Yeah, but she's also not only just the depth of her story and the way she's shown the wide range of emotions and stuff, very good.
Yeah, she's going to be a pretty interesting actress to watch as she gets older.
I agree, yes.
Yeah. Now, the bit on the train that I wanted to talk about, where they kind of sit down and Rachel goes through the whole explanation of like, well, I gave you to my friend Melissa. So Sherilyn Fenn's character, Melissa, we find out Angela's best friend. And she's the one that apparently she trusted her with her daughter. So apparently it was a very close friend. And she tells Rachel that she wanted Rachel to grow up with a mom because she knew that she couldn't be there for whatever reason. We don't know exactly what yet. Again, like I said, she's keeping some cards close to the vest. And that's probably where your concern is coming from because she's not coming out with the full truth.
Right.
She talks about that Rachel asked where her powers come from, and Angela explains that it comes from her father's side, obviously. And but if you notice, they keep dancing around the name of her father. They go out of their way to dance around this. That like they just said, well, your father had a cult of followers. They don't say who the father is.
Right.
They're deliberately trying not to say the word Trigon, if you've noticed. And Rachel's concerned that, hey, well, these people are chasing after me. And Angela's trying to reassure her, well, hey, we took care of the asylum, so there's nothing to worry about. And your father's long gone. But obviously, we know that's not going to be the case, right?
Yeah, I was a little I was a little surprised that Dick was so, well, that's done.
Yep.
Chalk it up a victory. Let's move
Right.
on.
Yep. We'll just America went up here, and we'll just for us and move on. Yep. But presumably they figure, well, hey, Corey just killed everybody, so maybe we don't have anything to worry about.
Right.
But obviously, we don't know how far. Again, we talked about this, that we don't know how far and far-reaching this cult is. Presumably, it's a pretty big one, and so they could be facing a threat at any moment. Presumably,
I agree.
Yeah, and so obviously the story's not over by a long shot. All right. Anything else about these two characters before we move on?
Nope.
Oh, we should talk about. Well, we could talk about that when we talk about Corey here in a minute. All right. So let's move on to topic number 3. 'Cause I'm TNT, I'm dynamite. So obviously the theme of this week is AC/DC.
Yes.
Because of Corey enjoying the AC/DC that's on the radio. So
yes.
Which
was kind of funny.
Because Rachel's
what is
just like,
this?
What is this? And Rachel's just like, or I'm sorry, I keep saying Rachel because the actress.
Yeah.
Angela says, well, it's AC/DC, and so she's like, oh yeah, this is all right. So maybe Corey's moving out of her disco phase into kind of like 70s and 80s rock. So hard rock from AC/DC. So yeah, I want to talk about Corey here because Corey, she's also featured on the train.
Yes.
And she has an encounter with a U.S. Marshal on this train, and more importantly, she's starting to have little flashes as her memories apparently are starting to return. And we finally get a little tease of Corey's alien heritage in this episode.
Yes.
So what were your thoughts on that in this episode?
Well, I liked it a lot. I always like it when someone drinks bourbon because Lynn and I have a connection.
Yes.
So that was 3 shots of bourbon.
That's what Alcoholics Anonymous says, but no.
Yeah, Gar is very much a lightweight.
Yeah.
How many of these you had? 1.
Yeah, that was kind of funny. Where he's kind of like looking at his hands, going, "Am I supposed to be numb?"
Yes.
That was pretty funny.
Yeah. I liked it. We get the big reveal, and we'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah.
But I liked that we got the flashbacks. I liked that Corey, at first, her instincts were a little bit off, but they really weren't.
Right.
She's worried about this. Hey, I just thought you were hot.
Yeah.
But then they are looking for her, which makes sense. I mean, she is wanted for a lot of killings that they don't even know about.
Yeah, this is true. Yeah. Well, now after the asylum, they don't know about that.
Yeah.
But presumably she just attacked. They didn't say that they murdered those Illinois police officers. She just attacked them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So hopefully that can get cleared up. But she did attack officers, so who knows?
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say. So we did get these flashes, and they're kind of causing Corey some headaches, as she kind of like has flashes of, we see her on what is presumably a spaceship. She's piloting it, and apparently things are going all kinds of higgledy-piggledy, which is a real mess, in case you're not familiar with the term. And that's it. That's all we're given. So what did you think of it? Now, are you kind of wondering, as I'm wondering, if this is a reference to, excuse me, Corey's escaping from the Gordanians from her slavery, or if this is something else?
Yeah, we don't know what they're going to do. I did not take the time to slow down to, stare at the images that were
Right.
cut so very quickly. So, once again, I think this is kind of one of those, I don't know what they're going to do, so I'm going to wait till they tell us.
Right.
What is their plan? Or is she this, galactic bounty hunter? I just don't think she really is there to hurt Rachel.
Right.
But it does look like it is right now.
I think the tease at the end, what you're talking about, is this this bit at the end where Corey presumably remembers something,
Mm-hmm.
and she kind of lunges at Rachel and grabs her by the throat a little bit and lifts her up. And the question is, maybe I think that's all a tease. As far as, we're supposed to think, oh, she's there to try to kill Rachel, especially people that aren't familiar with the comics or the animated series.
Yeah.
But I think obviously it's going to turn out to be something else.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I think that is, now just before that happens, we have Donna, who had seen pictures of the kind of alien language that Dick had taken from Corey's storage locker on his cell phone, as she's flipping through his cell phone, and she's like, okay, what is this? This looks like an offshoot of ancient Sumerian. And he's like, how do you know that? And she goes, well, this looks like something that I studied with the Amazons.
Right.
So she thinks she's able to translate it. So at some point after that, presumably they decide to hop in the car and drive straight to Ohio. I'm not sure why they decided to do that before she translated it, because she seemed like she was translating in the car.
It did look like, didn't it?
Yeah, because it just seemed like maybe we should have had her figure this out and then get in the car as a reason to get driving there. But she thinks that the language, or at least the text that she decodes, talks about that that Corey, she reveals, is called Starfire, and it's her job to secure the Raven.
Yes.
And Donna kind of treats that in kind of like two possible translations, that either you have to, I guess, grab or get a hold of Rachel, or that she has to kill her. And for whatever reason, Donna thinks that, that Corey is going to kill Rachel. So obviously, I think it's going to turn out to be the other. But for right now, we're teased that that she thinks that Starfire is a threat to Rachel. So, what do you think?
I think that I do think they're trying to tease us. I believe she's sent to protect her, not to hurt her.
I agree. Because we had teases about that earlier in the season, that she felt protective of Rachel, but she couldn't understand why.
Yeah.
If you remember that little bit of dialogue from like episode 3 or 4, I want to think. And obviously what triggered all this was because Rachel, with her healing abilities, feels that, maybe I can heal your memories.
Yes.
And so they try this. And Corey, who's already having these quick flashes, goes along with it. She's not expecting much, but apparently it triggers something. So how much of her memory will be restored, I don't know. Hopefully all of it. But we'll see. We'll see where this goes. So that's kind of where we're left hanging. That's the cliffhanger. So anything else about this episode before we move on?
Just I love everything about it. I just like the interactions with the team.
Yeah.
I like the awkwardness of Dick Grayson. I love the brother-sister relationship of Donna. Conor Leslie is just amazing as Donna Troy. So this is, I think the series continues to get better. I think they're finding their voice even better. I'm excited about next week's episode. I think you're going to be frustrated because I think it's another building up character episode. This isn't going to advance the plot very much.
I think this is a sidetrack, and I kind of think this is a bit of a misstep.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that when we talk about our next time. But essentially, we're kind of putting this storyline, I think, on pause for an extra week. And I think that's going to be frustrating because you're like, okay, you're leaving me with this cliffhanger, and you're not going to resolve it next week. What are you doing?
And I think that was my feeling with Doom Patrol.
Right.
And I think I've accepted the fact now this is the method of the story they want to tell.
Right.
So you either can
I
go
think
along with the flow, or you can be frustrated. And I've chose just to go along with the flow.
Yeah. I mean, we don't know. They might address some of it next week. We don't know yet. Mm-hmm. But so we'll fingers crossed that hopefully we at least get the resolution of the cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see. But I'm not going to put money on it. Let's just put it that way.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. Do you have some favorite lines of the episode? We talked about it. I'm guessing you do because we've had quite a number of them.
Yes, I have a couple.
All right. Go ahead.
Corey. Well, maybe once I remember who I am and you figure out who you're going to be, maybe we and Dick try it again sometime. I thought that was very sweet and very, both of them,
realistic
and also very vulnerable.
Yeah.
Because, when they first, a couple episodes, when they first were together in bed, when they first had sex, it was a very, are we going to talk about it? And she's like, why? And, okay. And it was very matter of fact, hey, you're hot, I'm hot, let's do it. Yeah. This was, I thought, the very first of them both opening up to each other, and Corey especially showing a softer side.
I think this is the first step to them, these two characters actually having an actual relationship.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree.
Not just like, okay, we're going to have hot sex.
Right.
We're actually going to be in this for the long term. It's not just meaningless. This is going to be real. Mm-hmm. So we'll see where it goes, especially when these two characters are reunited. So, I love this there's so many great exchanges between Dick and Donna in this episode. It's hard to nail down all of them, but this one in particular, where Donna and Dick are kind of walking together just after Dick had shown up on her front doorstep. Donna goes, "I thought you already quit Batman." And Dick goes, "Not Batman this time, Robin." Donna's like, "Okay, what happened?" And Dick says, "Couldn't get a handle on the violence. It was getting worse." Donna replies, "That's hard to imagine." And Dick says, "I know. I went cold turkey, burned the suit." And Donna's like, "Wow, that's dramatic. Mine's in the closet. These things are expensive."
Yes. That was awesome. Yeah,
so good. It's like, why would you burn yours? It's like, those things cost money, dude.
I will have to beep myself.
Yes.
But Corey goes, "This not knowing a thing about myself is getting beep old."
Yeah, getting effing old, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
That was so funny.
Yeah, it was good.
I just love her.
Yeah, that was good. Dick and Donna at the exhibition, which was good, where Donna tells Dick, "All right, there's some people I need to talk to. You go ahead and mingle."
Yeah.
and Dick's like, "Mingle?" And Donna replies, "Have an interaction that's not gender-driven, a conversation instead of an interrogation."
Yeah.
So I thought that was great.
Absolutely.
Got any more?
Nope. I already mentioned I wonder what the Penguin is doing.
Yeah.
And then you said it's a Justice League thing was really great. So, yeah. Not right else.
Yeah, I've got that exchange between Graham, the poacher, and Donna, where he goes, "Go on, have a shot." And Donna replies, "Sorry, the only thing I point at an animal is my camera." And my wife, Lori, who is obviously a big animal activist and a rescue person, she loved the fact that Donna was that attitude towards animals. So that was another thing that I think that won her over with Conor Leslie as Donna Troy. And lastly, I have this great line when Donna and Dick are having their brewskis at Donna's place.
Mm-hmm.
And Donna tells Dick, when Diana took me in, she showed me how to fill the hole that fire left in my life with love and with family. That's just what the Amazons do. They have a tradition of empowerment and self-discovery. Bruce filled that hole in your life the only way he knew how, with rage and violence. Wonder Woman was born to protect the innocent, and Batman was created to punish the guilty. But we're not them, either one of us. So I thought that was rather good exchange, or a good bit of dialogue.
Now, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's it. That's all I have. So, and of course, why the hell do you have to always be right? And young Donna says, because I'm older, smarter, and prettier than you, which was reset, of course, when later on the older Donna tells the other Dick, older, smarter, prettier, the drill.
Yeah.
Which was good.
So I don't know if you noticed this, because I just did.
Yeah.
Conor Leslie.
Yes.
Is a photographer in real life.
Really? I wonder if that's her actual photos.
I don't know, but if you go to her Twitter page,
yeah,
there is a link.
Obviously, Jesse's paying attention to our podcast.
ConorLesliePhotography.com.
Right.
And there is an amazing picture of Brenton studying his lines off camera.
Yeah.
And it's a black and white. But anyway, we will include. I will tweet out the link. She looks like an amazing photographer. So, which I think is kind of funny. You wonder how much that helped her get the gig.
Right.
That because what led me to that is she had tweeted a picture of herself, and she said, "Outfit Donna's, camera mine." And there's a self-portrait of her taking a picture.
Right.
And so I just thought that was kind of cool.
That is kind of cool. So
yeah.
And hopefully if Titans ever gets a Blu-ray release, that hopefully they'll have some documentaries about this.
Yeah.
And then we'll get some more information. Hopefully.
Yeah. It makes me like the character even more.
Yeah. I'm ready for it. I'm ready for a Donna Troy spinoff series.
Oh man, have you noticed a trend we keep saying about that every episode?
Well, certain characters they could carry their own show, which is good. And maybe if DC Universe decides to spread this out, who knows?
Mm-hmm.
All right, what's your rating for this episode?
Oh, I out of honor of you.
Yes.
Because I think your point about them not passing the story along quick enough.
Yeah.
Is a fair comment. I won't say complaint, but
No, I'm not complaining. It's just
I know you're not. That's what I'm saying. It's a fair statement. So I'm only going to give it 9.5.
Oh. You were going to give this a perfect 10.
I was going to give it a 10.
But
That's
you can give it a 10 if you want.
This.
You can give it a 10 if you want.
No. I think you back and forth. We thought this is, 9.5 scrambled eggs for breakfast.
Okay.
Or pancakes for breakfast.
There you go. I like this enough. I really like this episode, but because it wasn't that big episode, it was hard for me to give this a 10. So I gave it 9 digital cameras.
Oh, very nice.
In honor of Donna Troy. This is probably my favorite episode so far.
And I keep saying that,
and obviously it is your favorite episode.
Yeah, I keep saying that this is my best one so far. This is my favorite so far.
Well, we want them to keep getting better. So maybe it's a good thing I decided to give it a 9 because in case they really impress us with the season finale.
Yeah.
Got to save something for even better, right?
Yeah.
All right. Titans Tower News. Oh, go ahead.
Wait a minute. And I remembered to watch the previews this time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good. So we'll talk about that in a second.
Okay.
So Titans Tower News. I just have a real quick mention that there's a Blue Beetle movie in development, which I'm mentioning because, of course, the Jaime Reyes Blue Beetle, the third Blue Beetle, was a member of the Teen Titans during the kind of just after the Jeff Johns era, and joined the team with Teen Titans Volume 3, number 50. So he's an actual Teen Titan, and so it's relevant, I think, to Titan Talk. And Jaime Reyes is essentially, this would be DC's first Latino-based superhero movie. And this is according to the Wrap. And according to them, Mexican-born writer Gareth Dennett Alcocer, who apparently is writing a reboot of Scarface for Universal, is writing the screenplay. So if you're familiar with this character at all, he first appeared in Infinite Crisis number 5, and before joining the Teen Titans. And essentially his version of the Blue Beetle was that he discovered the Blue Beetle scarab on the way home from school with two of his best friends, half buried in a disused lot. He took the scarab home, curious to what it might be, and that night the scarab came alive and grafted itself to the base of Jaime's spine, which provided him with a suit of extraterrestrial armor which can be modified to enhance his speed and strength and also create weapons, wings, and shields. And the Blue Beetles also appeared on the Young Justice animated series. So, again, that also gives him a good, strong Titans connection, I think.
I loved this character when he was in the comics. I just, for some reason, I really liked his charm.
Yeah.
His
relatability.
Yes, very relatability. So, I would love to see that. I think that he's been an interesting character and a fun member. So I think that would be a nice way to take that on. I agree.
Yep, I think so. So we do have some Tell It to Titan talk.
We do.
So we got some listener email.
Do you want me to read Michael's?
Yeah, go ahead. Because Michael Rotten, I'm hoping I pronounced that right. So he apparently first tried to get a hold of us through the Southgate Media email, not knowing that, hey, we have our own email, so you could reach us directly. So he wasn't sure if we got it, and we did get it. So, I forwarded it on to our official Titan Talk account so you can see it. And if you've got it, go ahead and read it.
Yeah, I do. Hello, Titan Talkers.
Hi, Michael.
I just wanted to write in and talk a little bit about the series, your podcast, and the Asylum episode. I'm not super knowledgeable about Teen Titans. I used to watch the animated show with my kids when they were younger. I've seen a couple of the animated movies, but never read the comic. I must admit I was hoping for a show with a bit of a lighter tone than we got.
Right.
I prefer a more comic booky feel, but they've created a good show. It isn't the show I wanted, but it's turned out to be a great watch overall. And I'm going to stop here. I think that's a really healthy attitude to take, Michael.
Right. That's kind of our attitude, is that it wasn't the show that we wanted, but we're enjoying it.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying your podcast. I don't know anybody watching Titans, so it's nice to be able to, quote unquote, sort of have a chat with somebody else about a show I'm liking. Hey, that's what we're here for.
We're to bring all you Titans fans together in one big happy family.
I'm looking forward to listening to you cover Doom Patrol, and might have to go find some of your other shows. Keep up the good work.
Well, that would be awesome.
That would be nice.
We would definitely appreciate that. And we'll talk about those here shortly.
Yes. Lastly, a quick review of Asylum. I just finished the episode. I admit I wasn't looking forward to it going in. Based on the preview, I was afraid it may end up being something of a pointless torture porn type episode, and I think it lived down to my expectations. This is easily my least favorite episode of the season. A small amount of initial communication on the part of Dick and Corey would have kept the younger pair from leaping into a dumb situation. A series of stupid moves end up with everybody being captured, followed by a few scenes of random character torture in a needlessly dark and gloomy facility, followed by a really convenient escape. It was dark in there.
Yeah, I talked about that when we talked
Yeah.
about Asylum, that, hey, you can lighten the show up so we can actually see what's going on.
Yeah. On the whole, I'm still really liking Titans. Every show has allowed the periodic bad episodes, so I won't hold this one against them. Keep up the good work, you two. I look forward to hearing what you have to say. Maybe you can change my mind about the episode, Michael. Thank you, Michael. First off, we appreciate you emailing us so much.
Yep.
And please send us more thoughts. This is really important. I was okay with the torture part of it, just setting the bad guys and giving us the chance for the escape.
Right.
I was more, and I won't repeat myself too much, but I was more upset with the whole Dick fighting himself than I was the actual torture. Any thoughts, Charles, about Michael's wonderful email?
No, he's pretty much kind of where we were, that it's not the show that we wanted, but we're enjoying it nonetheless. And yeah, I agree that Asylum was not. It was a little too much embracing the torture porn a little bit. I think that's dead on and very fair. But thankfully, I think Donna Troy, this episode that we just talked about, I think that was definitely a major improvement, and hopefully you think so as well. So hopefully you enjoyed Donna Troy. And thanks so much for checking out Titan Talk. We really appreciate all you new listeners. And please tell your friends about us if you're so inclined. I know Michael said he didn't have anybody to talk Titans with, but hopefully this might help him find some people. Maybe if nothing else, people that you can reach out to people that chime in on our Facebook page or our Twitter. So hopefully that would be something you could help do, or to help kind of find a community of like-minded fans, hopefully. But I'm glad he's liking the podcast, and thanks for all the kind words, Michael. Glad you're a listener. We're really glad for you and appreciate you.
Absolutely.
All right. So we also have the return, of course, of DJ Nick from Milan, Italy.
Yay.
Yay. So I'll read Nick's. Hello, fellow Titanites. We prefer Titan Talkers, but that's okay.
We'll take that.
We'll go with that. Just finished watching Asylum, and I am just blown away. So he's got a much different opinion, I think, than Michael. This is probably my favorite episode thus far. Between mind trips and quasi-claustrophobic scenarios, Asylum had it all. So yeah, definitely a different position from Michael. I believe, as most of us have been thinking, that the ultimate big bad will be Trigon, which I predict will be revealed in the season finale, probably. That's probably be the last words of the season, is that, oh yeah, Trigon. I'm guessing. Super excited to see Conor Leslie's portrayal of Donna Troy, a.k.a. Wonder Girl, in next week's episode, and all around thrilled with what we have gotten so far. Talk soon and all the best, DJ Nick. So thank you, Nick. Thank you, Nick. We definitely appreciate you listening as well, and you're always very loyal about writing in. So definitely appreciate that, and it's great to hear from you guys. So if you want to be like Michael and DJ Nick, and Michael, obviously this is how you can reach us directly, which will make sure that you can get your email to us rather quickly instead of hoping that our editor Rob is kind enough to forward it on. So everybody, you can reach us directly at titantalkcast@gmail.com. That's titantalkcast@gmail.com. And that gets us directly, so you don't have to wait for Rob to forward it. If you want to reach us through the Southgate Media website, that's perfectly acceptable, no problem there. But obviously, this is a much faster direct route. Otherwise, you can reach us on Facebook at Titan Talk, the Titans Podcast. You can always drop us a line there. Let us know what you're thinking of the show, how we're doing, what we should be doing, and what your hopes are for the show. And other than that, you can reach us on the Twitter machine at Titan Talkcast. We definitely appreciate that because that helps grow our little Twitter following and helps hopefully people find us as everybody helps more people help share links and stuff. And we definitely would appreciate that as well if you're so inclined. Otherwise, you can go to Apple Podcasts, rate and review us. We'd love to have that. That also helps people find us. And or just iTunes, of course, we're on there as well. You can find us there. And Jesse, where can they find you on the interwebs?
I can be reached at Jesse Jackson DFW on Twitter. You can find me. I'm in Facebook as well. Jesse Jackson in Louisville, Texas. You can find me on the Southgate Media other podcast that Charles and I do together, Next Stop Everywhere, the Doctor Who podcast, where we talk about the excellent latest series of Doctor Who. And then also we discuss classic Who series. And you can hear me talk about Bruce Springsteen fandom on Set Listing Bruce, the Bruce Springsteen podcast. Charles, how about you?
Well, of course, everybody can reach me at Charles Skaggs on Twitter or at Charles Skaggs on Instagram. I'm on both of those. Or you can reach me at Facebook at Charles Skaggs in Hilliard, Ohio. Otherwise, you can reach me at my blog, Geeky Things.
Damn good coffee and hot.
Damn good coffee and hot, where I talk about all the stuff we talk about here on Titans, posting updates on all the podcasts they do for the Southgate Media Group, including the aforementioned award-winning Next Stop Everywhere, the Doctor Who podcast that I do with you, Jesse, and also do with Karen Lindsay, friend of the show, that we do together. Hopefully we can get everybody together for next week's episode. Yes. Fingers crossed. And the Fandom Zone podcast that I do with Karen Lindsay, where we talk about comic book shows on television. So if you kind of like other comic book shows like we cover here on Titan Talk, Fandom Zone would be right up your alley, I'm thinking. And also Ghostwood, the Twin Peaks podcast that I do with Zan Sprouse, wife of comic book artist Chris Sprouse, where we talk about all things Twin Peaks, David Lynch, etc., etc. Other than that, Damn Good Coffee has all kinds of comic book, sci-fi news, and just a lot of all my different interests, which are many. So I know we're running along here because we've had a lot to talk about with Donna. So
yes, great episode, so much to talk about.
Yeah.
I just really continue to love what this is doing, and I can't remember, someone made a point of, and I can't remember where it was. I thought it was in Michael's email, but I guess it wasn't. Someone made a point about Jesse complains about Corey's costume every episode. So I specifically did not complain this episode. Just wanted to point that out.
I didn't make that. I don't think I made that comment. I can't remember if
did, yes.
Someone must have done it, but I don't think I did.
And I thought that was a fair, it was fair feedback.
It does kind of stand out every episode. My wife does the same thing. Every episode, she's just like, why is she wearing that?
Yes, exactly.
But so next time on Titan Talk, we are going to talk about, we're kind of apparently going to slam on the brakes and take a side trip we're going to talk about Hank and Dawn. That's episode 9 of Titan Season 1, as we go back and refresh everybody's memories that, hey, Hawk and Dove are part of this show too. Yeah. We're going to get the origin story of Hank Hall and Dawn Granger's relationship and the loss of each of their pasts that bring them together as the vigilante superheroes Hawk and Dove.
Yeah, it was really interesting because when I saw that, I went, wait a minute, we've already had a Hawk and Dove episode.
Yeah, but we haven't had their origin yet. Yeah.
It was Hank and Dawn.
Hank and
so
Dawn.
I was like, oh, very nice.
Yeah, you notice how similar their names, Hank and Dawn, are to Hawk and Dove.
Yes, I was.
Yeah.
So very cool.
So we're going to get that and basically the story of how those two crazy kids got together. Yep. And hopefully that means that we'll maybe maybe there'll be a framing sequence in the present where hopefully we'll get Dove out of her little coma that she's in.
That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping too. So hopefully we'll, presumably at the end of the episode, Dove will wake up, and these two characters will get back on the board.
Yeah.
Back in play.
Absolutely.
All right. So that's all I have. I know we ran long, but lots of Donna stuff we had to talk about. Hope everybody enjoyed it. And I know I did.
Oh, absolutely.
All right. So, Jesse, anything else before we sign off?
No, I just appreciate, as always, getting the chance to talk Titans with you.
Yep.
Thank you to all the listeners. We really do appreciate the feedback. This is as we've shared many times, this is a passion project for us. I mean, we just love the Titans so much, and it is what brought us together. And we are so happy that we've had a chance to talk about it, and you guys seem to be embracing it. So thank you so much.
Yeah, and thanks everybody. And hopefully, with more characters like Donna being introduced, that gives us even more of our Titans background that we can share with you guys. And we definitely appreciate all you guys listening. We can't do this without you, and please tell your friends about us. That would be awesome if you do. All right. Thanks, everybody, for listening, and we will see you next time right here for Hank and Dawn, right here on Titan Talk, the Titans podcast. Bye, everybody.
Goodbye.